Hello again, this is Business Live and I am Beverly Broohm. We take a look at the details now, and the demand for dollars has resurfaced as $1 is now selling at 12 cedis in the retail market. This was after a 2-week sustained improvement in value of the cedi against the dollar and the other major foreign currencies. The following Business Desk report has more.
The cedi began the week losing value despite gaining over 10 percentage points to the American greenback last week. It sold at 10 cedis 95 pesos to $1 before the Easter holidays, but has since lost about 1 cedi 5 pesos in value to the American greenback. The same story could also be said about the pound and the euro, as they are now going for 14 cedis 60 pesos and 13 cedis respectively at the Forex Bureau. Some analysts had forecast that the cedi will record a mixed performance this week as the market awaits a decision of Ghana's external debt restructuring with its bilateral creditors.
Now, Finance Minister Ofori Atta has revealed that China has now pledged to offer the necessary financing assurance to help Ghana secure an IMF program. The move is coming after China had expressed some concerns which could have impacted negatively on Ghana's program. But speaking at a news conference in Washington, D.C. last night, the Finance Minister noted that China's commitment could fast-track the approval of Ghana's program by the IMF board.
Meeting acknowledgement that we have done considerably well with regard to the domestic debt exchange program, and they are now waiting on receiving all sorts of documentation to enable them give us a proposal. So I think we've started on the right foot, very collaborative. And we expect, in the same way in which we engage the Paris Club, that will have an engagement that would result in the country being on a stronger footing, and they also burden sharing like all others have done. China, as you know, we visited on March 22nd, and we had excellent meetings with the finance minister, in which he was very clear that these were short-term problems that Ghana was seeing. He was very confident about our future in the medium and long term, and committed that they would work on our case to be able to give the appropriate assurances to the Paris Club. They have thus joined all of the Paris Club meetings that we have had, and we do expect them to offer these assurances in the coming weeks to the Paris Club, so that they will then submit to the fund. So I think we've actually enhanced the quality of our relationship, and we look forward to working even closer with China in the years ahead. I think the other question was a statement by David Malpass about the cost. The costs are actually quite, it's quite an expensive issue.
Meanwhile, Chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee, Kweku Kwarteng, has given the assurance that Ghana is on course to get an IMF program by second quarter of this year. Mr. Kwarteng stated that everything has been done to get the deal on time to turn the economy around.
It seems to me that Ghana has an easier task with the bilateral creditors, because in all these, the IMF is just waiting for a commitment, indication that indeed we're willing to help Ghana along this path.
Okay.
I doubt that is going to be difficult to get, realistically. Now, there were meetings between government and the private investors. Again, look, realistically, I just don't see how the private investors would somehow look at the situation and say we are unwilling to do anything. They would ask the usual questions. That sometimes the intention for asking those difficult questions is to ensure that once we get along and you have your program, that we will get a good deal going forward. I don't think those questions are really intended to decide whether or not they want to participate in this relief arrangement that Ghana needs in order to secure an IMF program. So I am confident that we will get a program. When are we going to get it? Is it May? Is it June? I don't even think it's very important. The finance minister, I heard today make the point that we're going to get this thing done by May.
Yeah.
I prefer to believe it. If it goes beyond that, we would see when next we can do it. For people like me, I have listened to the IMF MD in some of the public discussions here in.
Meanwhile, economist Dr. Edu Sarkodie has advised government to desist from putting timelines on when the country can secure a deal from the IMF.
It is a welcoming news. Ghana is at the crossroad. We are at a point where we need an IMF program. And then the preconditions to secure the IMF program is to get assurance from the creditors, both external creditors and domestic creditors. And so, while from the government, they were able to conclude about 98 billion cedi domestic debt exchange, and then they started going to the external creditors. We know we owe China about 1.7 billion, Paris Club about 1.9 billion, then other commercials, 8 billion from multilaterals. And so it is a welcoming news to get on board these creditors to give us the assurance that they are willing to help Ghana get out of the problem. But one thing that I want to believe is that we should not, underestimate the complexity and the sophistication of the creditors, both domestic and external creditors. They are all very complex.
Away from that, the Ghana Revenue Authority is urging taxpayers to use the month of April to take advantage of its online portals and digital channels to file their returns. According to the authority, the month of April is dedicated to tax payment. Commissioner General Reverend Amishadai Owusu-Amoah made the appeal in a video message after filing his tax returns using the online channels.
This is the month of April, and this is the month that's dedicated for every taxpayer, or for that matter for every citizen, to file their taxes. I have just finished filing my tax using our taxpayers portal, and I'm therefore using the opportunity to encourage every taxpayer to go onto our taxpayers portal and make sure that he files his tax. You can also download our app either from the Apple Store or from the Google Play Store and be able to file your tax conveniently. And I want to encourage everyone between now and the end of April, make sure that you file your tax and become tax compliant. If in extreme cases you are not able to either go onto our website and use our portal or download the app and use the app, you can still visit our offices, and our staff will help you to be able to file. But by all means, whether it is Google Play Store, whether it's Apple Store, whether it's going through our portal, by all means, file your tax.
Let's take one of our headline stories. And the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, is predicting a 2% increase in the price of petrol at the retail pumps from 16th April 2023. On the other hand, diesel prices are expected to drop by 5.58%. The Executive Secretary of COPEC Ghana, Duncan Amoah, joins us via Zoom for more. Duncan, thank you so much for your time here. What informed these current forecast? Until now, prices have seen a drop for some time now.
Yes, you are right. Petrol prices have declined sustainably for the first quarter 2023, January until now. The trend, however, might change. And then we would want to draw attention to the fact that for this particular window, it could have been a different story had it not been the good performance of the local currency. And so we need to draw the attention of the Bank of Ghana and, for that matter, those managing the currency to continue to do whatever they are doing, because international benchmark prices of the products on the international market clearly are beginning to do what you would call a U-turn, and soon we may end up paying a little more instead of the decline that we have witnessed over the first quarter of 2023. So these numbers largely are informed by international benchmark movements, and then again, the cedi's trading, particularly to the dollar. If you check the numbers we just put out, the cedi has performed creditably and relatively well the past 2 weeks, which probably would see you paying a little less for diesel, and petrol, unfortunately, you would have to probably add a little more. Or if the oil marketing companies decide to do what you call cross-pricing, then they might as well just leave the two products at the current prices without altering any of them. But whichever way you look at it, international prices are simply surging and beginning to go up again, and that should be drummed home to authorities so that whatever measures we need to put in place, we put them in place and don't continuously wait for prices to fall. It might not fall again.
But Duncan, it's very interesting how petrol prices may go up, but diesel is predicted to fall. What could be the reason?
For petroleum pricing, you are simply dealing with demand-supply function. And so at each point, if you recall earlier in the year, for those who use petrol, you were paying way less. In fact, for most parts of 2022, petrol prices were quite lower. Diesel was higher because of heating demand. And then again, what you would call the commercial, the factories that would depend, the heavier engines that would need more diesel. In our part of the world, what I can put on record is that we also consume a considerable amount of petrol. And globally, if you check the benchmarks, we also did indicate that there's been a considerable decline in prices for diesel across the world, while that of petrol rather saw an increase. It's simply down to demand and supply function. And that would so at this point, we probably will be getting to a point where those who buy petrol, those who buy diesel, may gradually be converging to a single point where prices may not be that differentiated as we have seen in the past. The two prices will simply meet at some point.
Let's talk about LPG, because we also noticed that LPG prices may fall. That is good news, right?
Well, we expect LPG to be a bit lower than it is currently in Ghana, considering that you have Aquabo, the gas processor, that is also putting a lot of products onto the Ghanaian market. Yet, the price of the product on the international market seems to be what you still have to pay for in Ghana, and hence sometimes you wonder what net effect or net advantage you got from the Aquabo processor. We'll be hoping that authorities will probably, renegotiate prices for whatever gas that we put on the Ghanaian market. If we are exporting and we would want to stick with benchmark, fine. But LPG pricing in Ghana, I'm afraid, continues to be very high as we speak. It is possible it would decline by some 4-5% for the coming window in April, which is about 48 hours from now. What we still insist is that if authorities pay closer attention, the sub-region has a situation where most of the countries are subsidizing LPG. We have the reverse where taxes have rather been slapped on LPG, and so prices continue to be high. You cannot continue to charge in excess of 12, 13, 14 Ghana cedis per kilogram and expect that people will be comfortable to pick their bottles, go to fill, especially whilst we are also thinking of the cylinder rate regulation program, which is coming with pre-filled bottles. That means you can no longer go and say, I'm buying 50 Ghana cedis or I'm buying some 5 kilograms or 2 kilograms. If it is a 14 kg, you must have the money for 14 kg or you don't buy at all, because cylinder rate regulation would simply mean you pay for full value for the full quantity that the bottle is already pre-filled for. And we think that the earlier authorities pay closer attention to LPG and its prices, the better it will be for the LPG penetration that government itself set for itself that by 2030 we should be able to at least achieve some 40-50% penetration. As we speak, the numbers are rather declining on LPG. If you look at the consumption pattern, people are shying away from that, and we think that some closer attention be paid to it now.
Thank you so much. Duncan Amoa is Executive Secretary of COPEC Ghana. You're still watching Business Live here on the Join His channel with me, Beverly Broohm. We'll take a quick breather. We'll be back with more. Please stay with us. Welcome back. This is still Business Live with me, Beverly Broohm. Let's do some more stories now. And the World Trade Center Association is set to hold its 53rd General Assembly in Ghana. According to the Executive Director of the World Trade Center, Accra, Edu Sarkodie, the meeting will provide partnership opportunities to many businesses in the country and attract foreign investment to contribute to economic growth.
The 53rd General Assembly of the World Trade Center Association will be held under the theme Towards African Economic Integration and Enhanced Global Presence. The assembly will include delegates from 64 countries. Speaking at a media briefing, Executive Director of the World Trade Center Accra, Edu Sarkodie, said the meeting will provide actionable insights and various tools for financing businesses in Ghana and Africa.
Companies in Ghana and entities in Ghana can benefit from beneficial partnerships. That is one. Secondly, this event is going to boost our foreign direct investment drive. A lot of the companies coming here are looking to establish businesses, and we all know that foreign direct investments into the economy will lead to economic growth, will lead to the creation of jobs, will help us to stabilize our local currency, and so on and so forth. So foreign direct investment. And then thirdly, this General Assembly is going to provide actionable insights into new opportunities across the continent and across the world. As I said, Africa is participating in this GA. We initially positioned the GA not as an Accra GA or a Ghana GA, but as an African GA. And you will see in the GA that there are strong delegations coming from the other African countries who are coming here and seeking to take advantage of the GA to engage with the business community coming from the United States of America, from Canada, from Asia, from Europe. All regions of the world will be represented.
He added that Ghana is poised to become a suitable destination for trade and investment around the African continent.
The increasing prominence of Africa on the global economic landscape. The continent of Africa is undergoing a truly monumental transformation at the moment, with the amalgamation of the African market into a single customs-free trading area. And this tickles the interest of the global business community. And also Ghana is uniquely positioned to become the headquarters of this single African market because of the peace and stability that we have enjoyed. We've had democratic exchanges of power between parties for several decades, and this is a strong argument for global entities wanting to come to Ghana. So, first of all, it's Africa increasing in global prominence on the economic landscape. It's about the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, and then it's about Ghana being a suitable destination for trade and investment.
Managing Director for SBN Bank Ghana, Victor Asante, says banks are readjusting their lending rates to support the private sector to boost economic growth. This follows the consistent hike in policy rates by the Bank of Ghana in recent times. Speaking to Joy Business at the 10th Training Assembly and Conference of Ratri International District 9102, Mr. Asante said the increases are affecting operations, but his outfit is devising strategies to cushion businesses.
Just like everyone, we are no different from any Ghanaian business or any Ghanaian for that matter. There are a few issues, but we are all dealing with it, so we continue to deal with it. Well, actually, learning rates have gone down. Learning rates have gone down, if you look, actually quite significantly. Yeah, policy rate did go up, but I think it was a reference to what is happening in the macroeconomic, where a lot of liquidity meant that they needed some interventions to reduce how much this was going. So we are coping. We just have to get going with what we have. There's not much we can do about that. Oh, yes, of course. We've had to look at so many things. I mean, for example, if lending rates go up or there's low liquidity, the risk goes up. I mean, everybody, so what it means is that anybody you are giving money to, you have to look at it perhaps a little bit more than you were looking at. There are certain sectors that are particularly impacted. You have to be sure they are well structured when you are giving out facilities. So banking is not special. I mean, banking is what the community is or what the economy is. So all we have to do is to adjust and make sure we can accommodate the issues that we are all dealing with. What are these sectors? Well, many. I mean, if you look around, there are sectors that are more affected. For example, if there's FX shortage, anybody who relies a lot of imports would suffer. You have to look around, you see so many of them that get into trouble for it. Today's conference is about Rotarians coming together to take an assessment of what we have done for the last 1 year, what we want to do in the next 1 year, what we need to be able to deliver on what we say we'll do. So basically that's what this is about. It's an assessment and motivate ourselves for the next year.
And that's how we wrap up Business Live tonight. Thank you so much for your company. For more business news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. I am Beverly Broohm. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.